The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, transmitted through quantum channels that humanity had only recently learned to decode. Ambassador Kane stood in the United Nations Communications Center, watching as the holographic display materialized before the assembled delegates. The alien figure that appeared was tall, crystalline, with features that seemed carved from living diamond. "Greetings, primitive species of the third planet," the being announced, its voice carrying harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. "I am High Counselor Vex of the Galactic Council. Your world has been observed for the required probationary period. The verdict is unanimous." Kane felt his stomach drop as the alien continued. "Your species displays excessive aggression, territorial disputes, and resource depletion patterns that mark you as a Category 7 threat. The Council hereby orders your immediate subjugation. You will surrender all military assets, submit to genetic modification protocols, and accept placement under Council governance. Non-compliance will result in planetary sterilization." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. President Martinez was the first to speak. "How long do we have?" Kane checked his datapad. "According to their timeline, 72 hours to respond with complete surrender." General Brooks, a weathered man with scars from 3 different wars, laughed bitterly. 72 hours to give up everything that makes us human. That's generous of them." Dr. Lisa Park, Earth's leading xenobiologist, pulled up tactical displays. "Our intelligence suggests the Council controls over 40,000 worlds. Their fleet approaching our system contains ships the size of cities, each one capable of glassing a continent." "Then we negotiate," suggested Secretary Vale. "With what leverage?" Brooks shot back. "They're not asking for tribute or resources. They want us to stop being human." Kane studied the tactical readouts. 3 massive vessels hung at the edge of the solar system, their weapons trained on Earth. Smaller scout ships had already disabled several orbital stations with surgical precision, demonstrating their technological superiority without destroying them entirely. "There is another option," Martinez said quietly. The room turned to her. "We fight." Brooks nodded slowly. "The species that conquered fire didn't ask permission from the darkness. The ones who crossed oceans didn't seek approval from the storms." "Doctor," Park brought up population statistics. "Even if we lose, we make them remember us. 40,000 worlds in their empire, and they'll know that Earth was the one that said no." The vote was unanimous. Kane drafted the response himself, keeping it simple and direct. "The people of Earth decline your generous offer. Come and try to take what you want." The reply came within hours. High Counselor Vex appeared again, his crystalline features somehow managing to convey disbelief. "Your response indicates either a translation error or collective insanity. You possess no technology that could threaten Council vessels. Your population numbers barely 8 billion. Clarify your position." Kane stood before the transmitter, representing not just Earth, but every human who had ever refused to bow to superior force. "Our position is clear. We will not kneel. We will not surrender our freedom, our identity, or our right to exist as we choose. If you want our world, come and take it." The invasion began at dawn the next day. The Council's assault ships descended through the atmosphere like falling stars, their shields deflecting everything Earth's military could throw at them. Plasma beams carved through mountain ranges. Cities vanished under directed energy bursts. Within 6 hours, every major military installation on the planet had been reduced to smoking craters. But humanity didn't break dot in the ruins of New York. Construction worker Mike led a team of volunteers in building barricades from the rubble of skyscrapers. They used improvised explosives to collapse buildings onto advancing Council troops, turning every street into a potential ambush dot in the Amazon. Former park ranger ANA organized indigenous communities to wage guerrilla warfare from the jungle. Canopy. They used knowledge passed down through generations to strike its supply lines before melting back into green darkness dot above the Australian outback. Pilot Jack flew his damaged fighter through a canyon system too narrow for the massive Council vessels. His radio crackled with similar reports from around the globe. Humans refusing to quit, finding ways to fight back against impossible odds. The Council had expected resistance to collapse within days. Instead, it grew stronger. High Counselor Vex materialized in his command ship's bridge, where tactical displays showed a planet that should have surrendered, but continued fighting with increasing coordination. "Status report," he demanded. "Curious, High Counselor," replied his tactical officer. "Their military infrastructure is completely destroyed, yet organized resistance continues across all continents. They're using primitive weapons with remarkable effectiveness. Primitive weapons cannot harm Council technology. No, but they're not trying to destroy our equipment. They're targeting supply convoys, communication relays, and isolated patrol units. They seem to understand they cannot win through direct confrontation, so they're making occupation as costly as possible." Vex studied the data. In 40,000 conquered worlds, he had never encountered anything like this. Most species either surrendered immediately upon seeing Council firepower or fought conventional battles they were guaranteed to lose. These humans were different. They adapted, improvised, and refused to accept defeat even when logic demanded it. "Their behavior pattern is unprecedented," continued the tactical officer. "They're coordinating globally without central command. When we destroy one resistance cell, 3 more appear. It's as if the entire species has developed a collective immune response to our presence. On Earth, the resistance continued its impossible fight. In Tokyo's ruins, elderly teacher Mr. Tanaka taught children to identify Council patrol patterns. In London's underground tunnels, engineer Susan designed radio networks that could operate despite constant jamming. Across Africa, farmers shared information about Council troop movements through drums and smoke signals. When electronic communication failed, the war that should have lasted days stretched into weeks, then months. High Counselor Vex found himself facing something he had never encountered in his 1,000-year career, a species that grew more dangerous the harder it was pressed. Every Council victory seemed to produce 10 new human fighters. Every destroyed city became a fortress. Every fallen resistance leader was replaced by 5 others. The cost of occupation now exceeds projected returns, his economic advisor reported. "We're losing more resources maintaining control than the planet could provide in a century." Recommendation? Withdrawal. Classify the species as unmanageable and establish a quarantine zone. Vex considered this unprecedented situation. The Council had never retreated from a conquest, but then again, no species had ever made conquest this expensive. "Prepare withdrawal protocols," he ordered finally. "But first, I want to understand something." The final transmission came directly from Vex to the human leadership. "You have achieved the impossible. Despite overwhelming technological disadvantage, you have made your world too costly to occupy. The Council withdraws, but first I must ask, why continue fighting when victory was impossible?" Kane, speaking from a bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva, smiled grimly. "Because someone has to show the galaxy that freedom isn't negotiable. That some things are worth fighting for, even if you can't win. Maybe the next species you threaten will remember that Earth said no, and they'll find the courage to do the same." The Council ships departed the next day. Humanity began rebuilding, but the galaxy had changed forever. Word spread through the quantum networks. There was a world in the outer spiral that had made the mighty Galactic Council retreat. A species of primitives who had redefined what victory meant. and in council chambers across 40,000 worlds, other species began to wonder if they too could learn to say no. Chat controls Sonnet 4.